We all have our ups and downs, our lazy days, our productive days, and if you're anything like me as a high schooler, life gets in the way. Sometimes you just have more lazy days than you have productive ones, and that can really throw off the balance, especially when you're trying to complete homework for all your classes and trying to get college stuff done. So I live in Connecticut and it gets really cold in the morning sometimes. So when I have to wake up when my alarm goes off, I find it really hard to get out of bed. I just feel so lazy, just snuggling under the blanket. But being lazy isn't all bad. There are some things that you can do to help your day move along or actually be more productive. I'm not saying that being lazy is bad, but that whenever somebody feels lazy or feels like they haven't done anything yet, it can be really detrimental to their mental and physical health. For example, this has happened to me when I wake up and I see YouTube videos on how I wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, my motivational routine and stuff like that. It makes me feel like I'm missing out or that I'm not doing enough to improve myself. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can use laziness to improve your physical and mental health so that you can reduce the amount of stress that, school or extracurriculars puts on you as a high schooler. So the first tip I can give is the 20-second rule. Now, what do I mean by this? So to be able to understand this rule, you have to understand that taking the first step to doing something is always the hardest. You can call this the power of activation energy. Now, if you're in biology or physics, you've probably heard about how enzymes decrease the activation energy so that it's easier for the reaction to happen. Now, this is exactly the same thing that happens in our own lives. We need that initial spark, that initial motivation to get the ball rolling, to start doing the things that need to be done. Imagine, for example, you're starting to play guitar and you bought this case and you put in the case every time, put it on the other side of the room. Now, whenever you want to play, you have to go out there, open up the case, take it out, tune it, and that can take five minutes if you're pretty slow, but the point is that it takes a while. Now, what you want to do is you want to decrease that activation energy. So I can put the guitar in the middle of the room or leave it out of the case so that it takes less time for me to pick it up and start playing. Guitar is just one example out of many different things that you can do. For example, if you need to do math homework, you can leave your calculator out so that you don't need to pull it out from under the desk or try to find it somewhere. Just leave it there. Ideally, it should take around 20 seconds, which is where this rule comes in. So now, how can you use this rule if you're lazy? And what I like to do is I tell myself, hey, if I can't do this in 20 seconds, I'll just go back to bed or go back to watching YouTube videos. So if I can't pick up my guitar in 20 seconds or I can't set up my math homework in 20 seconds, I can go back to doing whatever the hell I want. But if I can do it in 20 seconds, then I have to continue doing that one task until I'm done. The reasoning behind this is that 20 seconds is nothing. Even if you're the laziest person in the world, 20 seconds is so little. Your mind will say, oh wait, 20 seconds, oh yeah, it's not gonna take that long for me to take out my guitar. And then you trick yourself into getting out of bed so that you pick it up and you start playing. And once you get over that hill, everything else comes easily. The second thing I want to talk about is knowing when to cut corners. I think this is a really useful life skill to have because you can never ever do every single thing that's required of you at all times. So in high school, you take 5, 6, 7 classes, and sometimes you just can't get the work done for all of it. There's so many things for each class. There might be things that take 5 minutes, things that take 1 hour, papers that are due next week that you want to procrastinate on. If you don't write it down or you don't learn how to prioritize these tasks, it can become overwhelming. What you want to do is you want to acknowledge that you're lazy, that you want to cut corners, and you want to find those subjects, math, English, whatever class you're taking in high school, and notice whether or not you can skimp out of doing homework. You can use this laziness to, for example, find out that your math teacher doesn't really check the math homework that you've done, or just looks at completion. So what you can do is just really quickly just do the bare minimum and move that time to free time or to spend it on other subjects. That way you're actually using your laziness to your advantage, because you notice that you can cut corners here so that you can make time for more important things. Now, I'm not saying that this is a long-term solution. It's something you should keep in mind when you're feeling down or you're feeling unmotivated for that day. Now, in this part of the video, I want to talk about how you can change your mindset to think of laziness as something good instead of something that you should try to get rid of. I want to talk about how laziness can actually breed creativity and critical thinking. So, as high schoolers, we're addicted to social media. There's never a moment where we feel bored because we can always just whip out our phone and go on Instagram or search whatever we want to. And you know, many books describe how this act of us never being bored, never knowing what it feels like to be bored, is actually hindering our creativity and our critical thinking skills. There's this thing in psychology called a diffused and focused mindset, where if you have a diffused mindset, your brain's open, your brain's making connections between different things that you might never have known had connections in the first place. So, for example, in a diffused mindset, you might make connections between math and science, between history and English. Whereas on the other hand, we have a focused mindset, which is very closed off. It's very focused on a specific math problem, for example. You're not thinking about how that relates to history or how that relates to science. And although that can be good for, you know, test taking or when you really need to focus in, for the most part, you want to have a diffused mindset, because those connections that you make between different subjects are what creates creativity or breeds critical thinking. Now, I'm not saying that you should just be bored or be lazy. I'm saying that you should be intentional with what you're doing with your time. If you're gonna be lazy, go all out. Be bored for that specific amount of time so that you can try to make connections between the different subjects you have. Don't just go on social media and start scrolling. If you maybe pick up a book to read or start journaling, maybe more ideas will come into your mind and you can help motivate yourself through the different connections that you form. Now, if you still don't understand what I'm talking about or don't trust me, I have an example for you, which is shower thoughts. Have you ever just walked into the shower and you've had these great ideas pop up? I know I have. I have ideas for YouTube videos, for math problems that just pop into my head and I know how to solve them, you know? It's because we're bored and we're in that diffused mindset where our brain's making connections between everything that we've done in the day. You know, apart from just creativity and critical thinking, just, you know, being lazy every once in a while or every week isn't something necessarily bad, but society and the way that social media is crafted makes us think that we're falling behind in the world, that we're experiencing something very natural called FOMO, or the fear of missing out. You know, in the stock market, you see investors piling into stocks because they're scared of missing out. And the same thing happens with our time. We see people, you know, spending 16-hour days just grinding on what we don't even know what they're doing, but just working. And we feel the same pressure to do that. And I've experienced this myself during the summer, where on social media, I've seen people just go all out, and I felt a pressure and I wasn't happy. I was depressed and I didn't know what to do with that. But just relaxing and giving myself permission to be lazy was one of the best things that I could do for myself. You know, especially in high school, where we're out and about seeing people studying, you know, talking to friends about what they did for their math project or English essay, FOMO can really build up inside of you. And it's something that, you know, schools try to address, but it doesn't really work. It can't come from external sources. It has to come from the inside. So next time you're feeling lazy, kind of think of it as a gift. Think of it as something you should cherish. And these moments where you give yourself a break or feel yourself being lazy and give yourself the day off can really re-energize you for high school, re-motivate your love for learning so that you can go back in and try your best. If you guys are still here, thank you for listening. I hope this video helped you relieve some of your stress or cure some of the FOMO that you had regarding being lazy in high school. Just know that if you implement these tips or don't implement these tips, it's all right to be lazy. It's all right to take a break. If you guys found value in this video or enjoyed the content, please comment down below or subscribe. It really helps the channel out. All right, I'll see you guys later.